Hello everyone, welcome to Nutrition Nerd Academy, or in short, LEAK. This is Binyam Tesfaye, your host for this lecture. In today's our lectures, we're gonna continue our introduction to nutrition science topic. And as you remember, we discussed lots of things in part 1 of the section 1. And in this video, we're gonna discuss about part 2, which is a continuation of the overview of or the introduction to nutrition science. Please don't forget to subscribe this channel and also hit the notification bell. This is how you support these videos. If you like it, please click the liking buttons and also subscribe and click the notification bell so that this video will be reachable to everyone. In our previous lectures in part 1, we defined nutrition science as a multidisciplinary field of studies that focus on the interactions between human and the substance they consume as a food. And as a recap from these definitions, we identify 4 keywords, interesting keywords, such as multidisciplinary field of study, food, human, and interactions. And from these 4 key points, we discussed about multidisciplinary field of studies and food. In these discussions, we define food and its multifaceted contributions to human life, the source of food for human being, approximate compositions of foods and factors affecting it, and also we discuss the definitions of food nutrients and its classifications in more detail. For those of you who didn't watch our part 1, I recommend you to watch that part 1 before you are listening this lecture. In our today's part 2, we will discuss about what human means in the nutrition lens and also the interactions between human and food. Finally, we will discuss the importance of studying nutritional science in this video. So that our learning objective for part 2 is define and discuss human in the context of nutrition, as well as discuss the interactions between food and human, and also its consequences in its multiple consequences in human health. And finally, we will discuss why we study nutritional science. So let's delve into discussing. When I'm trying to prepare this document, I try to find different definitions of human from the nutrition perspective, but most of the definitions I found is actually archaeological and biological definitions, and I couldn't find any definitions of human from the nutrition perspective. So I try to put some important basic science about human and put together and define human from the nutrition perspective as follows. Human being can be defined as an omnivore living organisms formed through the process of fertilizations due to the fusions of egg and sperm and embarking on a 9-month transformative journeys in the womb to become a fully formed human. Throughout life, humans continuously evolve at different stages, and they must rely on nutrients, water, oxygen, and sunlight for the formation, growth, development, maintenance, proper body functions, overall well-being, and even survival. So as you can see in this picture, the first process of human making is the fusions of human sperm, male sperms, and female eggs. And at this even initial stage of human being, nutrients are highly required. And these fusions will convert it into the zygotes. And this is a very basic essence or the basic stage of human life. Even at this stage, certain nutrients are very, very vital. To mention one, folic acid is very important for cell divisions and proliferations. So any shortage in folates or other nutrients will have a huge impact on the formations of human being. which results in some deformations such as neural tube defects in the leg. So that at this initial stage of the human life, especially during the fetus in the womb, and until it reaches into the full babies, macro and micronutrients are very, very vital. Even these nutrients are very vital throughout human life in different amounts and type. Hydration is also very important, oxygen is also very important, and also sunlight is also very important. Without these four basic things, human being survival is under questions actually. One of the most interesting things that I found is the perspectives of religious uh, theories or philosophies towards human being. In the Christian theology, the tripartite view or trichotomy holds that humankind is a composite of three distinct components, including body, which is the physiological part, which includes flesh, body fluids, and bones, and this part is related to the environment according to their views. And the second one is soul, and this one is a psychological component, which include the mind, the emotions, and will. This is also related to other things. The third one is a spirit, which is spiritual things, which includes intuitions, conscience, and communion. This one is related to supernatural powers or gods. The nutritionist, we usually focus on the body part, and our recommendations always attached to nutrient recommendations and also physical activities. And we usually forget about the psychological things such as the mind, the emotions, and the will. And these are actually very important from the nutrition or the overall well-being dimensions, because most of our physiological processes are actually controlled by the mind, so that the depression, stress, anxieties, all of these things will have an implications on our recommendations or the body part or the physiological part. So taking into considerations of all these components into our functions for our recommendation is very important. So what's human body means? The human body is actually a single structure, but it is made up of billions of smaller structures of four major kinds, and also actually body fluids as well. So these major structures that makes the human body include cells, tissue, organs, and systems. Actually, body fluids are also very, very vital and important. As you can see in this picture, we consider a single person as a person, or as his body as a body, or her body as a body, as a single one structure. But this single structure is made of billions of cell structures, tissues, organs, and systems. So let's discuss cell. Cells are the basic building blocks of all living things. And human beings or human body is composed of 37 trillions of cells. As you can see in this picture, which is the scanning of the human bodies, which is made of like billions or trillions of cells. And these cells provide structure for the body and takes in nutrients from the food, convert those nutrients into energy, and carry out specialized functions. And technically, we can categorize these 37 trillions of cells into 200 type of cells in the body. To list some as an example: red blood cell, white blood cells, neuron or nerve cells, muscle cells, which is myocytes, epithelial cells, adipocytes or fat cells, osteocytes, which is a bone cell, hepatocytes, pancreatic beta cells, cardiomyocytes, connective tissue cells, sperm cells, and ovarian cells can be mentioned as an example. And all of these cells have their own specific functions and nutrient requirements. When we are taking into account nutrition, we are thinking about like providing the required amount and type of nutrients for all 37 trillions of cells for human being. And these cells have their own differences and similarities. To talk about or to discuss about their differences, these cells have a difference in their physical and morphological differences. As you can see in this picture, there are different types of cells with different type of morphological characteristics. For example, the red blood cells have like a kind of circular or disc shape. The nerve cells have like some kind of branches and tails kind of things. The sperm cells have also different morphological characteristics, and also they have different physiological or metabolical activities in the bodies. In addition to that, they have also nutrient requirements, different nutrient requirements, and specific receptors for their basic nutrient requirements. They have also specialized function and also gene expressions. These cell types have also similarities. For example, all cell types have a cell membrane that separates the cell from its external environment. And also each of them contains a genetic materials, typically in the form of DNA, which carries instructions for cellular functions. In addition to that, all cells undergoes metabolic process to generate energy and also regulate cellular functions and maintain homeostasis. Cells also respond to various stimuli depending on their specific functions or hormones, such as signals from hormones or the environments to carry out their specific functions. These are some of their similarities and differences. The next part is tissue. Tissue is actually a group of cells that are similar in structure and work together to perform specific functions. In multicellular organisms, tissue are organized structures that contribute to the overall structure and functions of organs and organ system. Actually, the human body consists of various types of tissues, each serving a unique purpose. And the four primary types of tissues in human includes epithelial tissues, which is a tissues found in the lining of the GI tract organs and other hollow organs such as skin surface, which is epidermis. The second one is connective tissues. These connective tissues are actually found in fat and other soft padding tissues, bones and tendons. The third one is muscle tissues, which is found in the cardiac muscle, smooth muscles and skeletal muscles. And the fourth one is nerve tissues. These tissues are found in brain, spinal cords, and nerves. All these tissues have their own specific purposes in our bodies, and all of them require nutrients, oxygen, water, and maybe sunlight too. So when we are thinking about nutrition, we are thinking about supplying the required amount of nutrients for these tissues properly functioning inside the bodies. The third one is organs. Human organs are distinct structures composed of specialized tissue that work together to perform specific functions essential for the survival and well-being of organisms or humans. The human body has approximately 78 organs, which include the brain, lung, liver, bladder, kidney, heart, stomach, pancreas, and intestine. All of these organs have their own specialized functions. They also produce enzymes, hormones, and the like for the proper metabolisms of our bodies. And all these organs require nutrients for their proper functions at the right amount and type too. The next one that needs to be discussed about human body is human body systems. The human body system is a group of organs and tissues that work together to perform a very complex functions of the body. There are a number of human body systems, to mention some. Integumentary systems, which include the skin, the hair, nails, and internal and external environment. The skeletal systems, the muscle systems, nervous systems, endocrine system, cardiovascular system, lymphatic system, respiratory system, digestive system, urinary system, and reproductive system. And all of this human body system requires the required amount and type of nutrients for proper functioning. Any limitations or excess amount of nutrients will affect their systems and will result in morbidities and mortality. The next one is body fluids. Human body fluids are various liquids and substances present within the body that contribute to its proper functionings. These fluids play a crucial role in maintaining homeostasis, transporting nutrients, regulating temperatures, and facilitating various physiological processes. These fluids can be broadly categorized into two main groups. These include intracellular fluid. These fluids reside inside our cells. They contain essential components like electrolytes, proteins, and nutrients for cellular processes like metabolism and waste removal. The second one is extracellular fluids. These fluids are actually found outside of our cells. To mention some as an example, intravascular fluids, interstitial fluids, transsecular fluids, blood, lymph, cerebrospinal fluid, digestive juices, sweat, and saliva. All of these fluids have huge functions in our metabolism and systems. And to produce enough amount of this body fluids in the required quality by the body, we need nutrients, water, oxygen, and maybe sunlight too. So as a summary, human body composed of cell, tissue, organ system, and body fluids. So for the proper function and formations of all these cells, tissues, organ systems, and body fluids, we need both macro and micronutrients in the required amounts and type, sunlight, hydrations or water, and oxygen. Having said this, so why human beings eat food then? Why do we eat food? In addition to the nutritional benefits, human beings eat food for a number of reasons beside nutritional well-being. Actually, we eat also basically for nutritional well-being. In addition to meeting nutritional needs, food choice contributes to the overall nutritional well-being, which influencing factors such as growth, metabolic functions, disease prevention, and even survival. For example, if you ask a lay person why you are eating a food, they will definitely say to survive. Without food, human being cannot survive. But besides that, we need food for nutritional well-being. The second reason why we eat food is because food provides sensory pleasure for us. The enjoyment of taste, texture, and aroma of food provides sensory pleasure, contributing to the overall satisfactions and experience of eating. And the third reason is social and cultural reasons. Eating is a social activities, and food plays a central role in cultural traditions, celebrations, building bonds such as dating or maybe business deals or political deals, and also communal gatherings, which fosters a sense of belongingness. And the fourth reason why human beings eat food is emotional comfort. People may turn to food for emotional comfort. finding pleasures in the act of eating during the time of stress, sadness, or other emotional states. The fourth one, the fifth one is traditions and ritual reasons. Food is intertwined with traditions and rituals, and sharing meal with family and friends holds cultural and emotional significances and influencing eating habits. And many religious traditions incorporate food rituals as a part of ceremonies, festivals, or specific religious observances. So that all these reasons will affect the food consumption patterns of an individuals or a communities or societies or maybe nations as well. So that when we are considering food and nutrition recommendations or dietary guidelines, all these reasons has to be taken into considerations. Having said that, let us discuss about the food and human interaction. Food and human beings are interacted from the food production stage during the food consumption sections. In addition, these human and food interactions will result in nutritional status impact, either positives or negative. But before we delve into that, let us define what human and food interaction means in a broader senses. Food and human interactions can be defined as a multifaceted, dynamic, and complex relationship between human and the diverse dimensions of food system. This encompasses the entire spectrum from the food production and consumptions of food to its cultural, social, psychological, and economical aspects, with far-reaching implications for individual health, societal well-being, and the environment. Actually, these definitions holds lots of concepts from the follow lots of concepts, and we cannot or I will not discuss every details of the concepts within these definitions. However, for our sake of nutrition discussions, I will take two important concepts from these definitions and discuss a little bit more. Food and human interaction is dynamic. The interactions of food and human have an implication on human health and societal well-being. So we will discuss these two important concepts in this video. Food and human interaction is dynamic. What does it mean food and human interaction is dynamic? And how it affects our food consumption pattern? And why it is important to discuss this dynamism? Food and human interaction is dynamic. It means that the relationship between human and food is non-static or fixed. Instead, it is characterized by constant change, adaptability, and variability. This dynamism can be observed across various stages from food productions to consumption. And some of the dynamism includes food production dynamics, culinary evolutions, trade and exchange dynamism, food consumption dynamics, food preparations and processing dynamics, contemporary food philosophies, and also globalizations and culinary fusions can be considered as dynamics of food and human interactions. And let's discuss each one by one. Food production dynamics. The ancient agriculture, especially during the pre-10,000 BCE, there was a transition from hunting and gathering to a settled agriculture marked a significant shift in human life. Domestications of plants and animals influenced food productions. Before 10,000 BCs, human beings are actually collecting their foods by hunting animals and also by gathering plant products such as fruits, seeds, and something like that. And while they are doing this, especially during the huntings, they have to run, fight with the animals, they have to throw their spears and climbing trees and traveling a lots of kilometers from place to place, depending on the seasonality of the period, because once the food is finished in one area, there will be other places with the different seasons with plenty of food. So in order to survive, human being has to travel tens of thousands of kilometers in order to get another food sources. However, at pre-10,000 BCE, human beings started to settle in one places due to the agricultural shifts, so that they start plowing the lands, domesticated planting animals, and also start a settled life. During the medieval farming periods at 500 to 1500 CE, there was an advancement in farming techniques, and tools leads to increased agricultural productivity. And over centuries, innovations like plowing lands, irrigation system transformed food production dynamics. And during the industrial revolutions at the 18th and 19th centuries, mechanizations and technological advancement revolutionized agriculture and leading to mass production. These mass productions also produce or making like different kinds of variety of food products and make available for human being, which actually change the dynamics of food consumption patterns of human beings. So in our current centuries, in the 21st centuries, a lot of advancement is really happening in the food production era. This includes the lab-grown foods. Foods are actually produced in the lab and manufactured at a larger scale and sold in the supermarket. And this was discussed in part 1. The next one is culinary evolutions. During the ancient culinary traditions, culinary practices were evolved based on the available ingredients and cultural preferences. Actually, peoples were previously moved from one place to another, and the type of food and ingredients they find is different, so that differences also create like some kind of culinary revolutions in the human being. During the Renaissance and Age of Explorations during the 14th and 17th century, discovery of new foods and ingredients influenced culinary techniques, which actually brought into new recipes and different kinds of food products, which is a mixture of different ingredients, which changes the food consumption pattern of societies. And some of the recipes still exist and influencing even the current consumption patterns of a certain populations. The last one, or not the least, but the modern culinary trends, especially globalizations and technological advancements, have led to culinary fusion and the emergence of new gastronomic trends. The next topic to be discussed is trade exchange and immigration dynamics or migration dynamics. Ancient trade routes such as Silk Road and spice trade facilitated the exchange of culinary ingredients. For example, currently the world major energy sources are wheat, rice, and corn. Rices were actually found in China, and after their discoveries due to the trade and exchange in these Silk Road trade routes, now rices are grown in different parts of the world, and which is one of the major sources of energy. In addition to that, the discovery of wheat around the Middle East during the ancient times, and because of the trade and exchange through these routes, now wheat is produced throughout the world. In addition to that, the discovery of maize in Mexico is produced in everywhere in the world and becoming the major source of food for everyone. In addition to that, the discovery of coffee in Ethiopia, the discovery of tea in China, and also the discovery of different spices in the Middle East, in India, in India as well, is also now transmitted throughout the world, which affect the current recipes and culinary arts of the foods, which really affect the food consumption pattern of a population as well as the nutritional status of a population. And during the colonial era, during the 15th and 20th century, explorations and colonization introduced new food to different regions, which shaped the global cuisines. In addition to that, migrations. Migrants often bring their culinary traditions and dietary preferences to a new locations. These interchanges of food culture contribute to a diverse and dynamic culinary landscape, fostering cross-cultural interactions. Nowadays, throughout the world, you can find different kinds of ethnic restaurants which provide their own cultural food to the place where they are immigrated, which makes like huge differences in that area in terms of food consumption pattern and nutritional status. There is also a food consumption dynamics. These dynamics, when we say it, during the pre-industrial societies, diets were often locally sourced with limited access to diverse food products. And during the industrialization era, there was a mass production and distribution which led to increased availability of processed and convenience foods, which is leading the peoples to consume ultra high processed foods, which are considered as unhealthy by many nutritionists and affect the health of the populations at a higher level. And because of this, there is high risk of morbidities and mortalities, especially in the developed world. In the contemporary trends, there is now we are seeing a kind of shift towards whole grains, organic foods, locally sourced foods are observed, and in response to health and environmental concerns actually. And these trends are now increasing in the developed world. When we see the dynamics of the degree of food processing, traditional diets during the ancient times were primarily composed of minimally processed and whole foods. But during the post-industrial era, there is a widespread industrial processing which introduce additives and preservatives. Current trend is growing awareness has led to the preference for less processed and natural foods. And these dynamics actually shifting the human food consumption pattern and health in a very significant ways. The next dynamics we need to discuss is food philosophy dynamics. Food philosophy refers to the specific beliefs, principles, or ideologies that guide individuals in their approach to food choices, dietary habits, and consumption patterns. Food philosophies evolved over time, and these philosophies often reflect personal, cultural, ethical, or health-related considerations. And some of the notable food philosophies that are existed currently is that veganism, vegetarianism, pescatarianism, Mediterranean diet, keto diet, raw foodism is among the food philosophies which exist nowadays as a new philosophies. They are actually not new, but they are new to many peoples. But the peoples who are engaging in this kind of new philosophies are now increasing. So, as a nutrition professionals, we should look into this kind of changes in food philosophies and study their impact on the communities so that we can guide our policies and strategies to shift or to control such a kind of food philosophies in a best way possible to protect the people from getting insufficient or from the risks of malnutrition. After discussing these dynamics issues, now let's get into the human and food interactions in relation to health. Food and human interactions have far-reaching implications for individual health and societal well-being. This implies that the amount and type of food and nutrients we consume have a direct implications on our physical, metabolical, and overall functions of our body. Human being or human body at different stages of life requires nutrients in a right amount and type, which is actually for the formation, growth, development, maintenance, proper body functions, overall well-being, and survival. Hence, human beings should consume food and nutrients appropriately, depending on the life stage and physiological conditions. So what do we mean by appropriate? What do we mean by appropriate intake? The appropriate intakes of foods and nutrients refers to consuming a balanced and adequate diet that meets the nutritional needs of an individual to support overall health and well-being. And from this appropriate intake concepts, there are a lot of sub-concepts. The first one is adequacy. Adequacy is consuming sufficient quantities of essential nutrients, including protein, carbohydrate, fat, vitamins, and minerals to meet the body daily requirements. The second one is balance. Balance is a concept of achieving a balance between different types of nutrients to support various bodily functions. This involves incorporating a variety of food groups into the diet. The third one is diversification and variety. This is actually related to the previous one, which include a diverse range of foods from different food groups to ensure a broad spectrum of nutrients. This helps prevent nutrient deficiencies and promote overall health. The next concept is moderation. Moderation is the concept of avoiding excessive consumptions of any specific nutrients or food group. Moderation helps maintain a healthy weight and reduce the risks of nutrient imbalances or overconsumptions of energy-dense foods. The next concept is individualization. Individualization recognizing that nutritional needs vary among individuals based on factors such as age, gender, activity level, health status, and specific life stages, such as pregnancy, lactation, and aging. The next concept is nutrient density. This means choosing food that are rich in essential nutrients relative to their calorie contents. Nutrient-dense food provide more nutritional values per units of energy. The next concept in the appropriate intake is hydration. Hydration is ensuring an adequate intake of clean water, as water is essential for numerous physiological processes, including digestions, nutrient absorptions, and temperature regulations. The final concept in the appropriate intake is cultural considerations. So that food and nutrition recommendations has to be culturally appropriate or religiously appropriate. Taking into account cultural preferences, dietary traditions, and regional availability of foods when planning meal is very, very important. This will promote the dietary patterns that are sustainable and culturally acceptable. In order to create an appropriate intake by the community or by the society, maybe at a regional level or at a country level, many dietary guidelines and reference intakes are available. The first one is My Pyramid. My pyramid is suggesting or classifying the food group into 6, such as grains, vegetables, fruits, fats and oils, milk and milk products, and meat, fish, egg, and beans as separate 6 groups. And they recommend the amount and the type of food group to be included per day. They also recognize the importance of physical activities in their pictures or in their recommendations. The second one is my plate, which is similar to my pyramids, and they classified the plates into different food groups so that people will assign their plates for their designated plate area so that they can achieve a diversified food group which will provide like the necessary amount and quantity of nutrients. The third one is dietary reference intake, which is the most comprehensive nutrient reference intakes. They provide information on the amount of each nutrient per age differences, gender differences, and also physiological differences during the pregnancy and lactation. So the required amount of each nutrient is listed in this document. And the fourth one is to accommodate cultural and regional appropriate food products. There are also specific dietary guidelines, such as Ethiopian Food-Based Dietary Guideline, which is released in 2022. The dietary guidelines for the American people from 2015 to 2020 editions. These are some of the examples which is specifically designed for specific populations based on the available ingredients within that localities. The Chinese guideline is also exist. Europeans have also their own guidelines. In addition to that, there are also guidelines which is specific to a specific morbidity such as DASH diet for lowering blood pressure. However, the overall well-being of a human being is a function of many things beside nutrition recommendations. These include appropriate food and nutrient intake, which is the basic one from the nutrition perspective. However, overall well-being also include physical activity, mental well-being, living environment, which is clean water, clean air, and also non-stressful environments. Adequate sleep and rest is also very important, and also access to health care is very important. So when we design something to achieve an overall well-being of a person, we should also look into this as in our function. However, we usually forget about most of the things and we usually focus on dietary recommendations and physical activities. We usually forget about the mental well-beings, which will affect all of the physiological processes inside our bodies. In addition to that, the mood, the stress, the anxieties, and the depressions may affect interest into eating nutritionally recommended food products as well as physical activities. So all of well-beings has to be thinking to in our functions when we design some kind of recommendations for achieving overall well-being. We were discussing about the appropriate intakes of food. Now, what if the food and nutrient intake is inappropriate? Actually, what's inappropriate food intake mean? Let's discuss this concept. Inappropriate food and nutrient intake refers to dietary behavior that deviate from optimal nutritional practices or healthy dietary patterns. These include both insufficient and excess consumptions of specific foods and nutrients, potentially resulting in malnutrition. And there are actually reasons for inappropriate intake by an individual or by communities or by as a country as a whole. There are reasons. The first reason for inappropriate intake is lack of nutrition knowledge. Limited understandings of nutritional requirements and the importance of a balanced diet contribute to poor food choices, which results in actually malnutrition. The second reason is cultural and societal influences. Cultural norms, social pressure, and traditional practices may not align with optimal nutritional guidelines. The third important reason is limited access to diversified and healthy foods. Socioeconomic factors and limited access to fresh and nutritious food affect dietary choices, especially in low-income communities. Unhealthy food environments, such as availability of processed and unhealthy food options, combined with aggressive marketing, influence choices towards nutritionally poor foods. The fifth one is emotional and psychological factors, such as emotional eating, stress, and other psychological factors can lead to inappropriate intake as individuals turn to food for comfort or coping mechanisms. All these reasons will have an impact on our food consumption pattern, which results in different kinds of malnutrition, which have an implications actually in our health. So let's discuss about what undernutrition means. Undernutrition is an impaired health conditions caused by insufficient intakes of nutrients and or issues with nutrient absorptions and utilizations. Some people, in addition to insufficient intakes, some people have issue with nutrient absorptions and utilizations. This will result in undernutrition. And these problems is manifested in different forms at different walks of life. For example, for children under 5, undernutrition is manifested in the form of stunting, which is low height as compared to age, wasting, which is low weight as compared to height, underweight, which is low weight as compared to their ages, edema, which is the severe form of undernutrition, which is the accumulations of fluid in the extracellular fluids. Delayed development is some of the manifestations of undernutrition in child under 5 ages. In the adolescents, there is a manifestations in the form of growth impairment, delayed puberty, and decreased cognitive functions. In adults, emaciations or massive muscle losses, fatigue and weakness, compromised immune functions, and anemia can be used as an example. In the elderly, there will be undernutrition manifestations will be exist in the form of muscle loss, frailty, osteoporosis, and cognitive declines. Overnutrition. What does it mean by overnutrition? Overnutrition is a form of malnutrition arising from excessive intakes of calories and other nutrients, leading to the accumulations of body fat that impair health. And the manifestations can vary across individuals and may include obesity, metabolic disorders, osteoarthritis, and psychological impact, which is body image problems. And this obesity or high body mass index will result in metabolic disorders, which includes heart diseases, lipid problems, hypertension, type 2 diabetics, non-alcoholic fatty disease, polycystic ovarian syndrome, cancer, and dementia are among the examples of metabolic disorders which is associated with overnutrition or obesity. Micronutrient deficiencies. Micronutrient deficiencies refers to health conditions caused by an inadequate intake or absorption of essential vitamins and minerals required for proper physiological function. Micronutrient deficiencies can also be called a hidden hunger. We call it a hidden hunger because it appears despite having enough calories, and sometimes may not be immediately apparent as it often manifests internally and impacting overall health. Micronutrients, including vitamins and minerals, plays a crucial role in various biological processes, and their deficiencies can lead to specific health problems. For example, vitamin A deficiency causes night blindness. Vitamin D deficiency can cause weak bones and muscles. Iodine or iron deficiency causes anemia. Iodine deficiency can cause cretinism and goiter. Folate deficiencies, especially at the early stage of human life, will result in neural tube defects. In 1990, UNICEF developed a conceptual framework for the cause of malnutrition. And in this video, I try to modify this framework in my ways, and I want to present it to you in this video. And when this framework is developed, I categorize the cause of malnutrition as basic causes at a societal level, underlying cause at a societal level, and an immediate cause at a societal level. And all these immediate, underlying, and basic causes have a manifest or have a result in the form of immediate outcomes and also overall outcome in a societies. The basic cause at a societal level will include rapid population growth, political instability, natural resource conflict, climate change, economic and social system inequalities, injustice, food philosophies and taboo, culture, religion, technology, infrastructure, basic education, governmental institution strengths, corruption, societal awareness about food and nutrition, mismanagement of food resources, overall economic underdevelopment, and lack of coordinations can be considered as the basic causes of malnutrition at a societal level. And this basic cause can result in underlying causes such as inappropriate food availability, accessibility, utilizations, and sustainability. Inappropriate lifestyles, including sedentary lifestyles, smoking, and alcoholism. Inappropriate hygiene and living environments. And inadequate optimal care practices can be considered as an underlying cause of malnutrition. And these underlying causes will cause or will result in an immediate causes at a societal level, which is inappropriate food intake, inappropriate lifestyles, and inappropriate living environments. Meaning, inappropriate food intake means both insufficient intake and excessive intake. Lifestyle means sedentary lifestyles, alcoholism, and smoking. Living environment means polluted environments and unhygienic or low quality water. So, this inappropriate food intake, inappropriate lifestyle, and inappropriate living environment, in addition to inadequate optimal care practices, will result in high prevalence of all forms of malnutrition in a societies. This malnutrition is manifested in the form of undernutrition and overnutrition among children, women of reproductive age, adolescents, girls, pregnant and lactating women, males, elderly, and working age populations, so that all the populations will be affected by the high prevalence of malnutrition. So, this high prevalence of malnutrition will have a devastating impact in different forms, which include there will be high mortality risk, there will be higher morbidity risk, there will be lower cognitive and psychomotor developments among the populations, there will be a lower physical capabilities. So, higher mortality risk will have an impact on lowering the productivity of a nation because the peoples who are expected to contribute for the labor market or the productivity markets will be died before contributing to the nations. The second one is higher morbidity risk. These higher morbidity risks will lower academic performances, will increase demand to social services, especially during on the education sector and the health sector. This higher morbidity will also affect the higher labor absenteeism. In addition to that, higher morbidity risks will lower the performance in manual labor. In addition, the lower cognitive and psychomotor developments will affect lower academic performance, will also result in lower performance in non-manual labor. It also increases the demand to social services, including health services. And all of these things, including the lower physical capabilities, will also be results in lower performance in manual labor or manual intensive labors. So all these problems will result in social and economic burdens of malnutrition on nations. So when we evaluate this social and economic burden of malnutrition in a country, it can be like contributed to or affecting a larger amount of the GDP of a nation or also the GDP of the whole world too. So that fighting malnutrition is one of our job. So we say that when there is inappropriate intake of food, which is results in individual health or societal well-beings. So how do we measure this inappropriate intake manifestations or malnutritions? For this, we use nutritional assessments. Nutritional assessment is actually a process of evaluating an individual nutritional status to understand their dietary habits, nutrient intakes, and overall health related to nutrition. The goal is to identify the potential nutritional deficiencies, excesses, or imbalance, as well as to assess the impact of nutrition on health and well-being at individual or population level. Nutritional assessments actually involves a comprehensive evaluations that may include various methods and measurement to gather information about the individual nutritional status. Not only the individual status, but also at a community or a population levels as well. There are different kinds of nutritional assessments, which is important, which includes dietary assessment. The dietary assessment focus on gathering information about an individual dietary habits and food intake, which includes a method such as 24-hour dietary recall, food frequency questionnaires, and dietary records. This data provides insight into dietary pattern, nutrient intake, and potential deficiencies. The second nutritional assessment method is anthropometric assessment. This anthropometric assessment focuses on physical measurements and body composition measurements, which include measurements such as height, weight, body mass index, waist circumferences, age, and skin fold thicknesses. This data provides information on growth pattern, nutritional status, and body composition. The third one is biochemical assessment. This involves a laboratory test to analyze blood, urine, stool samples, or other biological samples. This method measures the level of specific nutrients such as vitamins and minerals and indicators of metabolic processes. This method offers insight into nutrient deficiencies, excess or imbalance at cellular level. The fourth one is clinical assessment, which involves a physical examinations by healthcare professionals, which observes signs and symptoms of malnutrition such as muscle waste, edema, and skin changes, which also assess overall health and identify potential nutritional issues. Having said that, why studying nutritional science is important then? There are actually 5 major reasons for studying nutritional sciences. The first one is for promoting health and preventing diseases. Understanding the impact of nutrition on health helps in developing dietary strategies that can prevent and manage various diseases, promoting healthy aging and longevity, contributing to the overall well-being. So that we promote health and prevent diseases based on scientific facts. The second reason is optimizing growth and development. We study nutrition science to provide insight into the dietary requirement for optimal growth and development, particularly during critical life stages such as childhood and adolescence. The third reason is to manage chronic conditions. Studying nutrition is essential for managing and preventing chronic conditions such as obesity, diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and malnutrition through targeted dietary interventions. The fourth one is to influence public health policies. Research in nutritional sciences contributed to evidence-based public health policies, shaping recommendations for dietary patterns, food fortifications, and nutrition education. The fifth one is addressing global nutrition challenges. Nutritional science plays a crucial role in addressing global nutrition challenges, including food security, malnutrition, micronutrient deficiencies with the aim of improving global health outcomes. Actually, there will be a number of reasons why we are studying nutritional sciences. These are just some of the main examples. Having said that, let us have some quizzes for part 2. You can pause the videos and answer each questions for yourself. The first question is, define human from the nutrition science perspective. Human body as a single structure composed of 5 important components. List them all. What is cell? What is the role of cells in human? How many cells human have? How many type of cells human have? What is the similarities and differences of cells? List 10 cell type of cells. What is tissue? What are the 4 primary type of tissues in human? Define human organs. How many organs a human have? List at least 5 organs in human. Define human body system. List 10 major human systems. Define human body fluids. What are the 2 classifications of body fluids? Give examples. What are the reasons that humans eat foods? Define human and food interaction. When we say human and food interaction is dynamic, what do we mean by that? Define food philosophies. What is the implications of food philosophies in nutritional status and health? Human body at different stages of life requires nutrients in a right amount and type. For what reason? What do we need nutrients? What do we mean by appropriate and inappropriate intakes of nutrients? What are the main reasons for inappropriate intakes of nutrients by an individuals or by societies? Define malnutrition and list and describe various forms of malnutrition. What does the hidden hunger mean? Describe the basic, underlying, and immediate cause of malnutrition. What are the immediate and overall outcomes of malnutrition? Describe the nutritional assessment method. What are the 5 major reasons of studying nutritional sciences? These are some of the quizzes that you need to answer. And in our next lecture, we will delve into section 2, which is an overview of digestive, absorptive, and utilization organs and systems. In these lectures, we will discuss the overview of digestive organs, their absorption mechanisms and utilization systems. We will make it very detailed and precise so that we can understand the overall digestive absorptions and utilization process for all nutrients. So when we are discussing each nutrient one by one, it will be very easy for us if we understand this section. Finally, I want to invite you to listen to music to refresh your mind after this lecture. For today, I will invite you to listen Billie Jeans by Michael Jackson. And this video were released like some times ago. But the one I want to recommend you to watch is the one which Michael Jackson plays during his 13th anniversary. I will put the link for you to listen. Finally, thank you for listening for these lectures. I hope you will find it very interesting. If you like it, please remember that subscribe this channel, like, comment, and share. This will expand the accessibility of these videos for many people so that it will get like it will be reachable for many peoples. Thank you so much. Bye bye. See you next time.